What's going on, guys? Chuck in,
Chris.
and we are back for the seventh and final time for our Titanic, the cinematic expedition. And of course, this is dive 7. And okay, this is a little bit different from what we done prior. So this is again Titanic adjacent, if you will.
Yeah.
But after sitting down and rewatching this, I really feel like it's the perfect coda or epilogue to all this. Honestly, it really fit well. And of course, talking about Ghost of the Abyss, the IMAX 3D documentary, which this is also cool because this is the second time we've done this.
Yeah.
The last time was many years back.
I've lost count.
Yeah, actually, I think it was probably the first video Chris
that was one of the first videos I was on.
Yeah, so I mean, and obviously he was. I was actually looking the other day. He was actually right about here. So
I grew.
Yeah, you grew and your voice dropped a few octaves. Yeah, cute pajamas then too. But so it's interesting to watch this again and now to have Chris with an older perspective and really focusing on what we've seen as opposed to the young Chris who just like, wow, it all out of 3D. And plus, I think this is a better 3D than we had the last time. Mm-hmm. So to catch you up, Ghost of the Abyss came out in 2003 in IMAX. And it was a big IMAX 3D event, not event, but 3D film. And the whole premise of it is James Cameron going back to the wreck of the Titanic in about 2001 when this happened. Bill Paxton comes along as a guest, and he basically, for more or less, narrates the film as well. You're kind of seeing a lot of it through his perspective as you just go down and and explore the wreck and in just an amazing way, especially with the 3D.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know, it's hard. It's really hard to explain.
Words cannot express this. You just have to watch it for yourself.
Yeah, it's totally. It really. I think I said this in the last video. It's awe-inspiring. It really isn't. I was lucky enough to actually, my wife and I, we saw this on an IMAX screen, and that was amazing then. But here it's still pretty good. Give me your thought. I mean, what do you think about it? I mean, again,
it's really good. I feel like I've actually gained more attention on it too. And each site, each style of the Titanic, it's just breathtaking, awe-inspiring, just beautiful in some way.
Hauntingly beautiful.
Haunting, yeah.
Yeah. And it's harder. I'm trying not to get emotional here. That's how effective it is, especially knowing its history and what it means. And you're attending more or less a gravesite, which is also it's oh man, it's just it's a weird thing because it's a piece of history that's right there. And which for me, that's always a huge thing. Anytime you can. And this is weird because we're watching a movie. We're actually there. Yeah. But again, with a 3D, it almost feels like you're there. You feel like you're getting a touch a piece of history. That's huge, huge, huge thing for me. But it's just, just watching it, and again, coming out of the darkness to not sound too, cheesy like, in Bill Paxton in the movie. But all those cheesy words he uses in that movie, he's right. I mean, it's just, knowing he's down there, it's 2 miles down, and it's sitting there in the dark, and then to come across it, and just the immense size and scope of it, and just knowing, to this point, coming up 113 years ago, which is just crazy in itself too. It's just, oh man, and then watching it here is just, it grips you. Go ahead, Mike. Say something.
When it comes out, I feel like you're seeing a hidden gravesite, something that was never seen until 1985. It was hidden all these years ago, and then when you go into shot, when the submersibles when the Titanic comes into view, the submersibles start coming to it. It's just breathtaking. It feels like it's impossible to believe in some way.
Yeah, it's coming out of the darkness. it's oh my god, it's ethereal. I think as Bill Paxton put it, it's awesome. It's and then just taking the dives as they've got these they're just going over the different aspects. And one of the reasons why it's called Ghost of the Abyss, as you're doing the dive, they're superimposing over this the events that happened during the night of the sinking over the wreckage of the ship, and kind of what it was, this spot here, what happened on the spot, which actually really brings you more to the historicness of it, or the awesomeness of what actually this is a piece, something happened on this, major happened in this one spot here. This is all that remains of that. This is like this piece of the Titanic is telling you this story just from what you the davit. What was haunting me was like the one davit just kind of hanging there once in a spot. Stuff like going in the Marconi room and you've got the
levers that the Harold Bride fixed to get a better signal, and they're still there in that same spot. Position.
It's just like, wow. Things like that are just amazing. They went in the room as a bowler hat from what passengers they knew, and then they knew that belonged to that person. Just other things like that are just again, it's monuments, and it's really touching.
And the windows that are still intact.
Yeah, windows that are still intact.
There was like a vase, not a vase. It was,
well, there's like one of the washrooms, like talking about a lot of there are been destroyed, but it's like one set up, and it's just like everything is still sitting in place. I don't know how that's even possible.
Exactly.
It's like it just
almost supernatural in some way.
Really, it's to see it. I mean, because like I said, you figure that what the ship went through, the sinking, coming down, the splitting in half, but there's this, water base. It's like the jar is sitting right there, like everybody's getting ready for
every piece of
it's still sitting up straight, and it's like, how is that even possible? And even that, some the windows, the fact that a lot of those windows are still intact. And they this point where they shine light through like the stained glass windows for the first time, and at that point, like 90 some years, that light had been shining through, and it's like, wow, they made a point, all this handcrafts, the ship and everything they've done is like no one has seen it in almost at that point almost 100 years, and it's just like it's all this stuff, and it's just hidden in the bottom of the ocean now, and it's just. I don't know. It's crazy, And what's weird is like there are so many shipwrecks.
Thousands.
Some, and there's some that are famous. But there's something about, and again, I know it's goes beyond a story. It's a legend, and knowing what happened. And again, it's also a what do they call, a cautionary tale too. Yeah. I think that's what gives it its aura.
And think about this. It's only really monumental because there were survivors there. If no one survived, it just would have been another ship. It would have been another shipwreck, like all the others, all the millions. How many are there? And just because there were survivors, testimonies. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing these videos. That's why anything about the Titanic exists.
That's a very good point too. You think, because if everybody had, perished and no one had survived, who would be alive to tell it? How would we know what had happened? Where the ship went down? Because they could look for. Obviously, no one's going to go deep diving in 1912 trying to find it. And even then, we found out. I think the coordinates they gave were slightly off.
Yeah.
Compared to what Robert Ballard found, so just like if there was no survivors to tell that story or know about what happened, would we even remember it? And that's a very interesting point. I didn't think about it. It's just history is a funny thing. It really is. Mm-hmm. But to get on, and there's another interesting thing about the film itself. I'm kind of bring things up a little bit because I'm getting. This was really again. Well, last time we saw this, we watched it again. We watched 3D last time. Watched it 3D this time because that's really the only way you want to watch this is in 3D.
Yeah.
It has a 2D version, but why bother?
3D glasses.
If you've gotten a 3D version, that's the only way you should watch this, and on the biggest screen possible. So last time we watched it on the 3D TV, which was only like 73 inches.
Yeah.
Tonight we watched it on the 120-inch projection screen, and it really, it really stands out. The 3D is just amazing.
Activates you a lot more.
It really pulls you in, and it's gripping. It's It's also nauseating.
Yeah.
Because when the scenes when they're on,
Sure.
the Keldysh, which is the same research vessel they use in the movie Titanic. So,
Yeah.
and you've seen a lot of, Lewis Abernathy is there, who would play Lewis in Titanic. Yeah. Well, of course, not the other. No, he's from 1943's Titanic. He's on here. It's amazing. He looks really good for his age.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, the 3D, the depth, shows the ocean, and this is a rough ocean.
And
it's rocking, and oh my god,
it's ironic too, because you realize that on 1912, when the ship sank, it was completely calm seas.
There's still waters, yeah.
No clouds, nothing, just emptiness.
Yeah, but what happened in this?
When they were exact opposite.
When they were they were showing Bill Paxton, of course, going into the submersibles his first time down, and he is just like a nervous wreck, and and I can, and again, we probably talked about this in the previous video too, but getting older, and and I have, first of all, I have a fear of flying. I will not get in a plane. With things are now, it's probably a good thing. But that same fear would apply to being in a submersible, going 2 miles underwater. It's kind of saying you're up in the air, something bad happens, you've got nowhere to go. You're on the water, something bad happens, you've got nowhere to go. He can tell that he's like terrified. He's like, so again, with this, where's the needle gonna be, and the oxygen if it's bad? He keeps looking up at the hatch and hope it doesn't hit him. All kinds of things. Which, it's a small space. It's
very small space.
And you drive 2 miles. 2 miles is nothing. You're driving, but you're also driving like 65 miles an hour. So that's a fast. 2 miles. That's nothing.
The descent
is like about a 2 hour. That's like 1 mile an hour.
You kind of have to too.
To adjust the pressure. That's a long drop down. Just sitting in this little cramped space. Getting more and more claustrophobic. Like 2-man submersible. That's all you have room for.
Darkness consumes you.
Yeah. And it's just, it gives you the willies just thinking about it. As much as I would love to be able to actually physically see really in my own eyes, see the Titanic, I don't think I could actually have the guts to, or the money, but specifically the guts to get down there and take that risk. It's scary.
Yeah.
Maybe if you knock me out, and like like Mr. T on the 18, because he hated flying. He used to sedate me, put me down there, wake me up. Hey, look, there's Titanic, and knock me back out. So send me back up, maybe. But yeah, it's just that's scary,
especially with the fear factor. What happened 2 years ago?
About 2 years, yeah. But at the same time, if you look into that Ocean Gate thing, that was a debacle, because that thing, it was running on a freaking
it was running on
Sega Genesis controller or something.
Logitech with a logger. He's like, what the heck is this?
And I heard they had they skimped out on a lot of safety measures just to make it cheaper. So no.
But but still, that kind of messes with your mind still.
Oh yeah, underwater. That's like the one spot we've not even explored. Barely.
We barely know anything.
And
about
it's scary down. It's pure darkness. They had this thing called the Medusa lighting. They actually lowered down light, which I was like, how long is that? They had a big long cable to drop it down and basically have a light up, kind of over the Titanic a bit, so they could have some light to get the cameras that they were filming and everything, which is interesting because you're looking at camera shots from outside the submersible, looking into the windows, and Bill Paxton looking out at the Titanic. So it's only, who's that guy out there filming it? It's just interesting.
I don't know, me, but I don't know.
Yeah. Back to the 3D and the one of the things, again, when they were bringing the submersibles back up, and they don't really talk about these divers who have to take a boat out to the submersibles when they drop them down and detach them, and then go back, back, and then when they come back up, they have to take these boats, get on top of the submersible, and try and hook it back up to the cable so they can pull them back up. And then this thing was water, it was all over the place. This guy flew off it a couple times.
Yeah, that was like the main part.
Oh my god! I was like, I could not. That is just you saw inside the submersible, Will Paxton getting tossed around, he throws up. It's just like, and in the 3D, that's really nauseating. Yeah. But again, it emphasizes how treacherous and scary that is.
It's probably one of the most immersive 3D movies I've seen.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's so much different than too, because this is a real life thing you're watching, so you're bringing real life things to you. It's not Jason shooting a spear at you, which is still cool.
Yeah.
But this is much different. Again, this hits a lot differently. And again, especially for anyone like ourselves who have affection, love, or and whatever it is, for the Titanic and its history and its legacy, whatever. To see this, because realistically, this is the closest you. At least I will. I don't know. Who knows what happened to him in the future?
Let's see.
You never know. But for me, this is the closest I'm ever going to get to
Yeah.
Titanic, and it's just you see the pictures and videos and of the wreckage, and you can go on YouTube and see a bunch of them. Any other National Geographic, in a couple months, National Geographic Channel or whatever will have 30,000 different documentaries on it because the anniversary is coming up. Actually, honestly, by the time this video is released, this will actually be the 113th anniversary of the Titanic sinking.
It's a lot of years.
Yeah. To that point too, talking about the scientists on the ship, one of them was there studying like the rusticles, and this has been a point that's been made over the last year or so, actually longer than that, but even more so recently, is that how long will Titanic even be
She's
there?
disappearing.
Yeah, I mean, just not too long ago they were showing photos taken recently and comparing them to the same like images from a few years back, and it was like a whole railing of a part on the stern, or stern.
Yeah,
Stern, whatever. I'm not very
Yeah.
seaworthy. Is missing. It's gone. It's just falling apart. I mean, the water is like how they put it is basically bringing the rusticles, all the microbacteria, all that stuff is bringing Titanic back to nature.
The Earth takes everything back.
Yeah, it's recycling Titanic very, very slowly, but it's happening, and so that's another thing that makes this kind of hard to
comprehend.
Watch, knowing that you have this memorial, but eventually one day it's not going to be there anymore. So what's going to be left to memorialize those who were lost? So that's kind of, I mean, how long that will take. It's made 113 years so far. How much does it have? Another 100 years in it? How long will it take? And I think it's why it's important you get as much as you can now, so you can preserve it in some way. Not saying go down there and raise the Titanic. God knows.
Yeah.
Nothing that crazy.
There was an idea back then, like the 40s, 30s.
Well, we just saw it,
Not that, no, like an actual idea I read.
Are you doubting Clive Cussler?
I mean, that could work.
I mean, yeah. But I think it's important that they find some way to... And I don't think you'll ever be lost. I mean, there's the Titanic museums, which, is a fantastic place to check out. We've been to the one in Pigeon Forge, and it's amazing, and I hope we'd love to go again. There's another ones, I can't remember where the other one's at. There's the second one, but the one in Pigeon Forge is great.
I love that place.
Yeah,
sounds amazing.
And I would definitely love to go there again and check that out. It's
water was freezing.
Yes, yeah, they have a spot there where you can put your hand in the water. It's basically the temperature that it was in when it was when the survivors were out there, to see how long can you last. I lasted like 3 seconds.
I lasted like maybe a little bit more.
So I can't even imagine. But there's not really much else to say. But Ghost of the Abyss, like I said, this is a great Disney actually Blu-ray 3D. And this is actually what I think it's a Blu-ray 3D, a Blu-ray, and DVD. So that's
a lot of
and I'm sure this is still available if you check. I don't know if you can get a hold of a 3D setup, but if you can, I highly recommend checking this out in the 3D, because the documentary itself is great no matter what, but if you really get the full immersion of it, as Chris said, you need to see it in 3D. There's just no other way. But again, I really think this is a great way to close out this entire series.
We're resting the grave. We're leaving the grave.
Yeah, this is definitely the way to put put an end to it, as it were. So any final thoughts on Ghost of the Abyss?
Again, I have to say, you should probably watch it. It doesn't matter, but again, highly recommend the 3D version. And just have a good time. Not a good time, just enjoy. Feel yourself be immersed in this. Because who knows, it might be the only time you can really see it. If you have time and money.
Yeah. Actually, I would love, James Cameron still goes down there because when he's not making Avatar movies. I would love to see like another, with the camera technology, 4K. I mean, he released the movie in 4K 3D. I'd love to see if we could do it, go back and, I mean, of course, what can you say at Titanic? But I think you can always go back and check it out.
Yeah.
And see it in more detail. They just recently did like a whole 3D rendering scale or digital, whatever, and to get more detail. I would love to see that again. That would be amazing just to see what it's like now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, because this was 2003 when it came out, and it was filmed in 2001. Right around the time of the September 11, which they mentioned on here before, and we talked about in the last video. So, I mean, obviously, it's been quite a few years, and I would love to see a nice, high end view of how it looks now compared to this. Maybe Ghost of the Abyss 2, who knows? But yeah, I definitely recommend if you're a Titanic lover, check out Ghost of the Abyss. Yeah, that's all I got. So on the other side of this, we're going to come back and kind of do a final thoughts on everything we've done, assuming you can remember. So we'll see you on the flip side there.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we're back with now we've finished this whole expedition. We've brought the submersibles back up. We're doing whatever it is you do after that.
Eat some food, discuss.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we're gonna do.
And now we're going to talk about, this adventure we've taken. So we've gone through 7 different films, talking about Titanic in different variations, and different
different mindsets, different
time frames.
frames, yeah.
So first of all, what is your thought on this whole experiment?
This was quite an interesting expedition. Because that's kind of only way I want to word this. Just seeing how I've only seen Night to Remember and James Cameron's 97 Titanic prior to this, so seeing all these art movies were quite breathtaking and impressive. And again, there were a few ones I just didn't feel like it, specifically Race Titanic. But after seeing it, I was surprised.
Surprised at what?
Just how good it was. Really.
Race Titanic?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, it was a fun. I think at the time too when we did it, after what we has gone through, it was nice to see something a little different.
Yeah.
And kind of get a nice little espionage adventure. Even as weird or ridiculous as the premise was, but this is something I thought about doing for a while. And I wasn't sure if I could actually pull it off or not, or we could. And I'm glad we did, because it was a lot of fun. Especially, it was a lot of fun doing with him to get his perspective on it, because I know he's a big Titanic fan as well. Mm-hmm. And, anytime I get him to sit down and watch a movie with me is always cool. So I'll take whatever excuse I can get. But also the fact we got to go back and really check out the different filmmakers' perspectives on this material, as it were. Mm. Going back to, what the Germans did. And that, obviously they thought the British were all wrong.
Yeah, it's Germany.
You look, the one from the 50s, which was like, again, it wasn't really about Titanic, it was called Titanic.
Yeah.
But then you get something as great as, A Night to Remember, which again,
really amazing for its time.
It holds up so well. A Night to Remember is a classic. It's, I hesitate even. I really don't even want to put. There's no secret. You talk about. I discussed the idea of doing a ranking. I thought why, because we know that. I think it's obvious that James Cameron's Titanic's gonna be number 1.
Yeah,
and A Night to Remember's gonna be number 2. Everything else is whatever. Yeah. And I hate to even put Night to Remember number 2. I kind of want to put them like 1A and 1B.
Yeah.
Because they're both that good. Honestly, they both they come at them
for their own times.
Yeah, and they come at it in different ways. I mean, obviously, Night to Remember is really trying to be more just strictly factual as much as possible, strictly just about the shipwreck and that's it. Where Titanic '97 is doing that as well, but it's throwing in more drama.
It has its love story,
the human story, which is making, because I think the problem, I won't say a problem, but the difference with A Night to Remember is you don't really have the human connective element. I mean, you see the people, you're not really attached to them. With Titanic '97, you've got the human storyline. You're following Jack and Rose. You're following everybody else, and it pulls you in just a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's it's adding the extra drama again, which the storytelling of a personal level. Which the other film like SOS Titanic tried, but I don't think it did very well.
The bar, kind of.
Yeah. Again, I think the problem with that is David Warner and Susan St. James, who were the
lead roles.
Well, they were kind of supposed to be the representative of the audience, where their chemistry just didn't click and it just didn't work out, and you couldn't really nothing else really had that kind of appeal either. And Raised Titanic didn't have that, but
that was more of its own thing, but it was still good in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, again, Raised Titanic, I don't know really the reputation Raised Titanic gets. Like I said, when I first heard the title, you think that's a stupid, ludicrous. But at all the same time, it intrigues you because, okay, I got to see how they pull this off.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It really is.
They had pulled it really good. Yeah.
One day, he's going to learn how to talk when we do these.
I have like a bad service ability. They pulled it off really well. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And again, the high points of Raised Titanic are the visual effects of Titanic itself, coming out again, which they put that in the trailer, so and it is in the title, so it's no big secret. Titanic's getting raised.
Yeah,
but it also the
story, in my opinion.
Yeah, the story's good. But I think again, what really kicks in that is the same thing. It really helps with Titanic '97 is the score. The John Barry score is phenomenal. It is amazing in Raised Titanic. It really helps. Just like James Horner, I got it right. James Horner's score
you got it right.
it really helps. '97 Titanic. Those two really in their different ways. It really helps. Where that's again something the other films lacked in that regard. We also noticed that card playing was a very popular thing.
Yeah.
Even Ghost of the Abyss.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know how we just kind of like never knew about this. Probably just going to see 97 Titanic mostly.
Yeah. And I don't remember. I don't think it was in the German Titanic.
I think it started with
it started
Titanic 1953
or 54, whatever that was.
Yeah.
Because the main male character, he was involved in a card game.
Yeah.
And that was like no matter what, they were playing the cards all the way to the end. So that's kind of funny. And then A Night to Remember, there was a card game going on, kind of same thing. In every film after that, we found people playing cards, whether they referenced it or not. There's always someone playing cards up to the end. And in '97 Titanic, where it didn't focus on it, we noticed in the background at one point, people were playing cards during the sinking. It's like, okay, that's weird.
Huh.
And then when we watched Ghost of the Abyss, they were doing, I told you, like the superimpose of the images of people.
Yeah.
That cut to people playing cards. And we're like, okay, that solves it.
That's it.
This obviously was a thing that we didn't know about. There must be some story.
Some documentation. Something
of someone observed people just playing cards up. And I kind of believe that would happen with, the higher ups, the first class, whatever, and the British, just how they were, the what's the word I'm looking for? The distinguished gentleman, British, whatever, going out, as gentlemen as they were, keep on playing cards to the very end and ignoring things. Which, frankly, I'm surprised that wasn't in the German version, because that's what Germans said. Oh, they're playing cards and they didn't care.
I didn't know.
So yeah, that was an interesting to me through a way. It was also interesting to find a lot of, prior to rewatching Titanic '97, we saw a lot of stuff that would show up. Other films would have these little bits or pieces that we saw, James Cameron use, which, A Night to Remember was obvious. You knew he was pulling stuff from that, but to see certain things from Titanic 1953, or I can't remember the year, even, some stuff from kind of taken from SOS Titanic, I believe. little hints and pieces, which I thought was interesting. It's, that it makes you really think. I mean, he probably never said this or whatever, but I think he went back and checked out some of these films or had a memory of them, or somebody told him when he was writing the screenplay to put these, or a lot of stuff could have just been, again, how much is really
what actually happened,
testimonial events, and or putting in there too. But beyond that, there are just little, I think story beats that he used from other films. So that's an interesting comparison. Any other thoughts or?
No, not really.
Not really. How much do you actually remember? And this has been a while.
I don't know, man. That's a lot of movies.
Give you a peek behind the curtain. Even though he's coming out weekly, we started this back in December. So who knows how
it's been that while now.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, jeez.
I wanted to get him out there early. But overall, did you enjoy doing this?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, me too. This is I can't think of any other event like this that has been filmed multiple times. You can sit down and watch them. Although it could be a thing. Let's go back and watch his ass movies because that's always fun. That's morbid. Okay. So, in that case, we've come to the end.
We're headed back home.
Yes, we've come to the end of this fantastic cinematic journey, this expedition, this deep dive, if you will, which is really that deep. And so, as we always say, if you enjoyed all this, please click the thumbs up, share, subscribe, leave us a comment, let us know, what you thought of this whole adventure. What was your favorite Titanic or film with any of these? If you checked out Ghost of the Abyss, this is the last one we talked about. It's the one I have in front of me, or any of them for that matter.
That's fine, so bad.
Yeah, or just say hi. We'll always take hi. So until next time, this is Chuck and
Chris,
and we will see you on the other side.
Yeah.